everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and today I'm sharing with you updates a couple weeks in of washing my hair exclusively with chickpea flour, some of my thoughts, some of the why behind it for anybody who's curious. So go ahead and stay tuned. Vegan prepper, vegan prepper. We're gonna get to updates in a second on the actual process and what I've learned and what I've seen so far doing this in like two and a half weeks of doing this with my hair. But first of all, let's go ahead and get into some of the reasons why I decided to start even doing this in the first place. Number one has to be the zero waste aspect of it. The idea that I could just wash with chickpea flour and it would just go like, so we're not doing plastic bottles from the store. It's something that comes like this. I buy it like this from Azure Standard. It's a big paper bag. It's 8 pounds at a time. Just a big paper bag that can get mostly like rip the sticker off, I guess, and that would go away. And then honestly, the string will go away as well. I think I have shared in past videos. Unfortunately, these are not fully cotton. They do have like polyester in them. If you burn the ends, they ball up because they've got plastic in them. So the string itself is not really compostable, but I do still save the strings and use them, you know, to tie up things, like if you need to tie things up in the yard or whatever. So anyway, regardless, this is way less waste than purchasing from a store, getting shampoo and conditioner and all that in all the different bottles from the store. And so I really do appreciate that aspect of it. And then the other thing was definitely the budget aspect of it, that this full bag is 8 pounds. I shared it in the very first video I did on this topic, where I talked about the very first time I did this, and I went through the whole process and showed like what it looked like. And I did the math on it, and this bag represents over 2 years of hair washing, and it was only $16. And like, you can't even get VO5 that cheap, okay? So this is like a major budget cut if you decide to stick to it. If not, you know, whatever. It's not, I don't know, like this is something that I'm still experimenting with, but that is one of the things about me that I personally really love to do. I love to do experiments like this. I feel like I'm always experimenting on something. I feel like if you've been watching any of my videos for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about things that I'm trying in videos, like with my garden. Well, I'm trying to see what I can get away with, how little water I can use in my garden and things like that. So I'm always experimenting on something, and this is just kind of the latest in the line of experiments. Truthfully, I enjoy experimenting. I enjoy kind of gathering data. I enjoy gathering a body of experiential knowledge that I can pull from at any time should it be needed. And so as far as like future budgetary concerns, you know, like any good prepper, I'm looking around at the world. I'm seeing some of the things that are going on. I'm seeing potential for some negativity coming down the pike. I'm seeing the writing on the wall. Hopefully it's not that bad, but you know, sometimes you're just looking at it, you're just like, and so, you know, having a body of things to pull from, where like, seriously, like, can you get by? Like, how little money can you spend to survive and exist in the world? And I think that, you know, performing, you know, having experiments like that is always a good thing to do. That's why, like, honestly, Adam and I have been through some pretty horrible financial times in our marriage. We've talked about this before, times when things just went wrong, and just went so wrong so often, between medical bills and just all kinds of stuff, and credit card debt that we used to have. Praise God, we don't have any of that anymore. Thank you, Mr. Dave Ramsey, and all your principles. That's some amazing stuff to get yourself financially more secure. And so we had some pretty hard times. And I actually had I had a relative, because I wasn't telling anybody that we were going through it. Money trouble is tricky, right? Because you don't want to tell people. You would love to get like prayer and support, but you also don't want to be perceived to be asking for money by sharing your difficulties. And so I think it's one of the most difficult things to go through, like in your life. But I did have one of my relatives actually say, well, you need to probably get a job, because I forget how it came up, but I ended up having to say, no, we do not have the money for this right now. And I can't remember what it even was. It was like, you probably need to get a job. But I didn't want to get into the conversation, but this is the situation that Adam and I were in, where it was so bad, we actually couldn't afford for me to get a job. So I've always almost always stayed home with the kids, until about a year and a half into our marriage, I think is when I started staying home with the kids. And so I was working originally, but it's just one of those things where if I had earned, I would never be able to earn as much money as I was saving us by being at home when you factored in the cost of daycare for my children, if that makes sense. And I think that there's a misperception a lot of times too, that women who stay home because they can afford it or because they're so wealthy. But for us, it was the exact opposite. I was working every penny that I could, baking all our own bread, making everything from scratch. I have a whole video on the channel on the only way that I have ever saved money, which is buying in bulk and cooking from scratch. And I can link that down below too. And so sharing a little bit about some of what we went through. And so this is just like the latest in a long list of experiments that I've decided to try. I don't know that I'm going to continue, although honestly, with some of the results I've been getting, I don't know why I would stop. So it's kind of like I'm still in that decision-making phase, but I also know how to do it now. So if I ever had to completely slash everything, or we ran out of shampoo and conditioner and it was not in the budget to purchase more shampoo and conditioner at that moment, that we could dig into chickpea flour on the shelf instead, and everybody would still have clean hair, right? So this is a great place to kind of work that in when you don't necessarily have to. You do those experiments and you learn these things so that, again, you have that body of experiential knowledge that you can pull from that is almost more important than the stuff you have on your shelf. Although I don't want to say it's more important, because obviously this is really important, but you can pull from that body of knowledge just as surely as you can pull from a shelf. It's different kinds of stores that can help you through difficult times. And so building this is actually part of that, like just building my shelf, my main visible shelf of knowledge in my head of all the years of all these experiments and all of these things that I have done to save money in really difficult times. And it's just feels a little bit pertinent to what we're dealing with right now. Unfortunately, man, it sucks. If you are in the middle of something right now and you are struggling, then my heart goes out to you. I have been there before, and it is entirely possible that we will be there again. But by the grace of God, with wisdom and with knowledge, we will get through. And so, yeah, that's part of this. So anyway, that's a lot of the reason why. The other reason why, so it was budget, zero waste aspects, and the budget, and then just building the knowledge. Another thing is hair health. So all of my life, I have dreamed of having long, beautiful hair, and it's not something that I have ever been able to achieve. My hair texture is very fine, wispy, and wavy. That's just the way that my hair is. And just really quickly, I would like to specifically define the difference between fine hair and thin hair. Because even Google does not seem to know the difference between fine, like these are specific terms. Fine hair, which is what I have, is hair where the physical size of the hair shaft is smaller. The diameter of the hair shaft is much smaller. Therefore, I end up with a ponytail that's about this big. It's like the size of a dime, basically, when I put my hair into a ponytail, or if I twist my entire hair together, it's like super thin. And that's because my hair is fine. So my hair follicles are smaller than a lot of other people's hair follicles. Thin hair would be if your hair is thinning. So my hair is not thinning. I still have plenty of it on my scalp. It's just very fine. And so every now and then though, I know like in shots when I turn my head, it looks like I have a bald spot. And so this is like, I need to do some henna in my hair again because my gray is coming out. I can look like I have bald spots at times because my hair is extremely gray underneath, you know, like at my roots, because I have extremely gray hair. I've been going gray since my 20s. And so I dye my hair with a combination of henna and indigo. So I don't use any kind of chemical on my hair to dye it. So it feels like washing my hair with chickpea flour is just like another extension of that desire to be as natural as possible with my hair. So what I have heard is the chickpea flour is really rich in protein, and that when you put it on, it's basically like a treatment for your hair. And so you can basically treat your hair. And so my hope is that I'll be able to achieve some nice, long, beautiful hair. It was the first time that I ever began to really hope that that might be possible for me was a couple of years ago. I was like paying attention. So I've been vegan now for almost 6 years. And a couple of years ago, I was paying attention, and I suddenly noticed my nails are really strong. Also, all of my life, I've always had really brittle nails that would just break off, or they would split, you know, where like you could stick your nail in between the layers and like peel a layer off. They would just split like mad, and then they would tear and I'd have to cut them off. So they're cut off right now because they annoy me. So I cut them short now because they get too long and they start bothering me. But it's the first time in my life that I've ever had nails that were strong enough to get very long, to the point that they, you know, they go past my, the tip of my finger, and then I just like, I have to cut them because they start getting in my way, or they bother me when I type and they click, 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 and I hate that. So I cut them really short now because, like I said, it's something that I have to do once they get too long, but it used to be something I'd have to do just to keep them from ripping into the pink part, if that makes sense. They used to be so weak and I used to have so many issues. I also used to have terrible skin around my fingernails that were covered in, you know, hangnails. It felt like something was always peeling and bleeding. I was always having pain around that area of my finger. And then, yeah, it's just something that I noticed has gone away completely. Since I've been vegan, I have very healthy skin around my nails. My nails are very healthy now. And noticing that kind of gave me a moment where I was like, I wonder if I could also grow my hair out now. Like, has something changed? And so I had, like a couple years ago, I had a very short cut. If you look into my really old videos, I actually have like a shaved side of my head and then a little bit of hair on top. And I had that cut for a while and maintained it for a while, and then I started growing it out. So my little like vegan prepper intro video was filmed obviously when my hair was starting to grow out, and now it's gotten quite a lot longer. And so my hope is to be able to see like, how far can I go? How long can I get this? And I'm hoping that the chickpea flour can help me with that as well. In just dealing with hair health, scalp health, all of that. Is it possible that I can do it now? Are my nails like a sign that it's a possibility for me now? I don't know. I hope so. And so I'm looking forward to that, to seeing that, and seeing hopefully that the chickpea flour maybe could help me facilitate some of that. And so now moving into an update on the actual state of my hair. What am I doing? What is it like actually washing with chickpea flour? Positives and negatives. So I will start off with the negative. Like the big negative that I have noticed is the shedding. It seems like I'm never able to fully rinse it out of my hair. And so I end up shedding for at least a few hours after I have done the wash with the flour. And I just shed chickpea flour everywhere, and then I just kind of wipe it off, and then, you know, just sort of brush it off and then go about my way, right? But it kind of ends up looking almost like I've got dandruff when that is happening. So I have to time it correctly. So like, even for instance, this morning I was going to wash my hair with my chickpea flour, and then I ended up not being able to because my son had a suddenly rescheduled orthodontist appointment. And so I knew I wasn't going to have time for my hair to fully dry before I left the house, and I wasn't going to be able to get all of it out, and I don't want to go out with it shedding like that because it looks gross. If people don't know what it is, it does look like I have a ton of dandruff coming on my shirt. And so that is kind of the main negative about the process. But one thing I want to say is it's possible that the reason that's happening is that I'm using the wrong thing on my hair. So I started looking it up because I originally heard about this through Rainbow Plant Life. Although she's amazing. You should check out Rainbow Plant Life if you want amazing recipes. But it wasn't Rainbow Plant Life. It was Fairyland Cottage. She's an amazing, I believe she's vegan. I don't know if she's ever explicitly stated it, but it's like everything she makes there's never any animal stuff in it on her channel. So I believe she's Hindu. So I think she might be a religiously vegetarian Hindu. But anyway, she lives in Ireland, and she just had a video all about chickpea flour in her hair. And so she actually blow dries her hair after she does it, which might also take care of some of that shedding. But it's also possible that when she says chickpea flour, she doesn't mean chickpea flour, which is made from white chickpeas, which is what this stuff is. She might mean besan flour. And I'm going to put it on the screen exactly what it looks like when you see the name. So besan flour, it suddenly occurred to me the last time I had it all shedding out, maybe in India, what they're using is not chickpea flour made from white chickpeas. Maybe they're using besan flour, which is ground up chana dal, and it's very fine. And chana dal is actually made from black or brown chickpeas that have been skinned. And it's actually Adam's favorite bean is chana dal. I have a recipe for chana dal on the channel that he absolutely loves. And so that particular type of chickpea, it's a different kind of chickpea that gets ground very fine. And that might be what is meant to be used for the hair instead of white chickpea flour. And so that's interesting. Theoretically, like if you had a much finer flour, maybe it would rinse out more easily. And so that's something that I kind of want to look into. But like so far, what's funny is even though I might be using the technically wrong thing, it seems like it's working really well. So it might just be a difference in our countries that she might be calling it chickpea flour when it's really besan. But I don't know, because it's still both are technically made of chickpeas, just like different chickpeas. So I just don't really know. And so I have to do a little bit more research into that. But that has been just the main thing, is the shedding of the larger pieces of the chickpea flour coming out. It's also possible that the chickpea flour from Azure Standard is not ground as finely as some in stores. You might be able to find a chickpea flour from the store that's a little bit more fine, even if it's not besan, that would not have that same problem. So I don't know, but that's sort of the main negative that I wanted to share about the process so far. So positives that I have already noticed. 3 primary positives I've already noticed from doing this only a few weeks. So like right now, my hair is about 4 days since, yes, 4 days since the last time I actually washed it with the chickpea flour. So I do admit I did put a little dry shampoo in my hair this morning. But one of the things that I have noticed is that it seems to have even better like almost so quickly, it has adapted to not looking greasy on subsequent days that I haven't washed. Hopefully I said that right, or well, at all. Because, you know, like a lot of times if you do shampoo and conditioner, it's like the very next day or even like the second day, your hair looks super greasy. At least I know that that's something that I have always experienced. But for the chickpea flour, I'm noticing it like even longer. 2-3 days later, my hair still looks fluffy. It does not look greasy. Today it had a little bit of grease in it, and like I said, today was the day I was going to wash it again, and I didn't get to it. But even still, it's not that bad. That's not to say that I'm not showering. So I am still showering and letting the water come through my hair. And so the hot water coming through my hair kind of gives it a little bit of a wash. And so I do that. But it has been, 4 days since I've done the official wash. And it's kind of amazing how much better my hair looks, I believe, in between washes. The other thing that I'm noticing is curl. And I don't know if you guys can see, but I have brushed my hair. I was brushing my hair a lot today because I did the dry shampoo, and I do have kind of a more wavy texture to my hair, not so much a true curl, but I'm having these like crazy, like mermaid waves on the side of my head, like on these days. And it's like, just beautiful. My hair is looking so nice. And so it's like, oh my gosh, like so effortless. Like, yeah, like I just, I don't know, like I said, just like mermaid waves. Like I know a lot of women work really hard to get that look, and my hair just seems to be just doing it. So granted, that is a little bit because my hair is wavy texture, but I'm just noticing so much more curl, so much more like life in my hair than I have noticed before. And that's like a really great sign, because I was trying curly girl method for a while and I abandoned that because of the expense and because of the waste. So again, if you budget and we have zero waste, like it felt like too many products and too much going on. And so the simplicity of this is something that I really love, and it seems to be giving me kind of amazing results for my hair. And so yeah, that's been a great positive that I've noticed. The other positive I alluded to in my first video, or I didn't really allude to it, I talked about how doing no poo methods in the past, I would end up with horrible dandruff. And then you guys are so sweet. I got so many comments about how to help dandruff in the comments. And so kind of what dandruff is and all of that stuff. And so that's great. I just like feel like you guys are so sweet, like you're taking care of me. I just kind of love that. But it was really cool because since I've been using the chickpea flour, I have not had dandruff. Like it's completely disappeared. And I said in the first video that that was apparently one of the perks or one of the pluses that people notice, is that dandruff disappears when they start using chickpea flour in their hair. And it does seem like that has happened to me. Now, I've never had really horrible dandruff, like snowing on my shoulders or anything like that. I would just have like a few pieces here and there. And so it was never super bad. So it would be awesome to try this on somebody who does have terrible dandruff and see if they do end up clearing it up. But yeah, I haven't had any dandruff. It's like completely clear. So, and it's only been like 2 weeks. So far for me, again, the shedding is kind of annoying. And having to time it just right. But with the other perks, you know, the fact that my hair looks better for longer, the fact that it's getting those glorious kind of mermaid waves, and then the fact that it's completely cured my dandruff. So it's like all those reasons, like looking super greasy, getting dandruffy, which are the things that would make, like, kind of force me to need to wash my hair sooner. None of that is happening anymore. So it's like, if I like miss today, like today, I missed the timing of being able to do it this morning. It's not such a huge deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. Or tonight. Actually, my plan is to do it tonight. I'm just going to do it like as soon as I get dinner in the Instant Pot. We're just doing a simple dinner tonight, dinner in the Instant Pots. And then I'm going to go ahead and go take my shower and let my hair fully dry, tonight before I go to bed. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm just planning on doing. And so I might just have to start getting my showers at night instead of in the morning, which is not that big of a deal. And so yeah, I think that that's pretty much everything that I really wanted to share as far as the updates of what's been going on with the washing my hair with chickpea flour, how it's been doing. And then, yeah, like I said, some of the why behind it, in case anybody was like, why on earth are you even doing that? And why would you want to? So I'm not necessarily trying to convince anybody to do it. I'm just sharing my experience in kind of an overly detailed fashion, because I'm like super detailed and I really wish that other people would go into crazy like detail, because like I have questions. People do videos and like they're 3 minutes long and they're like, here's how you do this thing, and I always like end it. So like it's nice because I know they get more views because they're shorter, and I know that if I wanted more views I need to make my videos shorter. But like I feel like there's got to be people out there like me who are like, give me details. I want details. I want to know like the nitty gritty, because I always have so many questions after those videos that are like super short, that show you like something, and it's like I'm always like, well, what happens with this and what happens with that, you know. So anyway, that's why I try to share all of that information, because I don't know, that's how I think, and that's how I want my information. I want it super detailed. So anyway, I guess that's all, and hopefully you got something good out of that. Let me know in the comments down below anything that you would like to say. If you guys feel like taking care of me in some other way. Like, again, you guys are so sweet. It's like every time I bring up a concern, I get all these comments of all these people, like, I don't know, just being so sweet. So I really love it, and I appreciate it. So anyway, any comments about any of that at all? I really appreciate hearing from you, and thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. See you guys next time. Bye.